Hey guys, Andrew here. Thanks for checking out another episode of ExoverseTV. Just wanted to let you know real quick that you can find polls and other updates related to the podcast by following us at ExoverseTV on Twitter. You can also follow Exoverse Media on Twitter and Facebook as well. Short and sweet note this time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to ExoverseTV. I'm Andrew. I am here at the studios that share right now with the Retox podcast guys, Derek, Danny, and Jay, who are with me to talk about the latest episode of Game of Thrones.
Fucking shit up. Hi, how's it going, everybody?
Hello. Hi. I'd like to say welcome, and I'm glad that we can do this.
All right, we got that out of the way. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we sure do. Holy God.
Wait, before we do that, ladies and gents, I will probably be exiting
The night is dark and full of spoilers.
before everybody's done. So if you at some point stop hearing the black guy's voice,
We didn't kill him.
Yeah. He made it. He survived.
We haven't heard his show opinions yet.
Jason, we haven't killed you.
that's right, they haven't killed me.
You hold the knife to the throat, Danny. You're doing it wrong.
Just pay attention to the date on the newspaper they make me read later.
That's not where his throat is.
Yeah, we are 4 of about 26 people that seem to survive the long night.
Woohoo! I don't know if I did.
No? On the inside?
Yeah.
A little
Something's dead.
something's broken. Oh, man. Yeah. Longest episode in Game of Thrones history.
Right.
Initial thoughts, man, like sitting there watching it, I think anticipating this episode for the last entire month, knowing what was coming, made it so much more of an event than an episode, that the first time that I was watching it, it had like an extra special level of intensity. But then...
No, that was just your screen. It was too dark. You didn't turn your brightness up.
I didn't have that much of a... Well, I was...
Jay's roommates were saying the same thing, and then Jay just stepped out of the way.
There it is. Brighter now.
Yeah, I forgave all that shit because I watched it... I wanted to make sure I watched it live, and the only way I could watch it live was on my computer, and I knew the stream wasn't going to be the highest quality, so I didn't even think that was something everybody was experiencing.
You just thought, like, oh, this is just really bad quality. And
yeah, I just thought my streaming quality sucked, and then the next time I watched it, I just paid a little bit closer attention to those parts, and I didn't have an issue with that.
I watched it in a dark room, so I didn't watch it like at its first running. I was because I had my daughter, which I typically don't have on Sunday nights. Not really fanfare for a 6-year-old. Like, I mean, like just not her cup of tea. Though,
Who's that person? Who was that person?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'll wait until she's down. And naturally, was not happening. It was just really hard because there were other people in my house who were like, that's a very noble thing to do. That's not going to be us. We're going to watch this. So, because it's a long episode and we want to make sure we watch it. So it was a lot of like, all right, well, we really need... It's like, all right, Stella, we can do a bunch of things, but we just cannot go in that living room. And naturally, everything centered around walking through, and it was like the Wayne's World, car, game on.
No, yeah, I the only light in the room was the TV, so I had no issues with the dark screen or anything like that. I didn't have any problems with it. So when I saw the posts about everyone, it was dark, it was too dark. And
we were watching that at 6 o'clock on fucking HBO Go, and the fucking light from the sun was fucking beaming right on the goddamn TV.
Yeah,
because somebody won't buy fucking dark curtains in the house. Just bright fucking light all over the goddamn place. And bro, and I'll tell you, I had to move my neck and my head 87,000 goddamn times to see what was happening. I knew exactly what everybody was talking about on the interwebs. I was like, I experienced it.
Interwebs. That was my favorite Game of Thrones episode.
I knew what was happening.
No, I think so. Obviously, it was done deliberately. It wasn't like I was like, oh shit, this episode is dark. I mean, because it's one of those situations where, like, yes, this is an army that doesn't require light. It doesn't require anything other than like the motivation to just kill. Like, that's all, and it makes it even that much more daunting as a result. Like, I mean, like, you can hear them coming, but you can't see anything.
Yeah,
and
I also didn't think that that lighting issue lasted.
As long as people made it seem.
No, I think it was just the first act, that first 20 minutes or so, maybe.
Then once the fire showed up,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, thank God they turned a light on.
Well, I mean, even before that, with the dragons kind
Yeah.
of coming in, starting to, burn shit down, as dragons do.
Yeah, but anything you couldn't see, I felt that was definitely intentional.
Yeah.
And I also, I understood that some people thought that maybe they were witnessing some of their characters die, but that they weren't able to, like, catch it on screen, and that's what they thought was occurring.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the episode, when you realize that didn't happen, then I think you would retroactively realize, like, oh, okay, then I'm not mad at the lighting.
Yeah.
A half hour
Like,
ago.
I didn't get to see their final thing because it wasn't their final. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I was feeling some things. I am not done feeling that. So, as you were.
The only thing I could see clearly were the credits.
So let's go ahead and see if we can, in a little bit of a way, kind of go sequence by sequence. When I was putting the notes together for this, we're kind of getting to this review almost a full week after everybody else has gotten to put their 2 cents into everything. And I think this week, I saw so much negativity online that I kind of wanted to refrain from asking any kind of like, questions like, why did they do this? Why did they choose to have, why didn't they make the trench 3 times as wide and just keep everybody within the walls? It's like, yes, in real life, I would wonder that,
The military strategy in general seemed a little like, yeah, there were some aspects of it like, oh God, you did like, you're supposed to know this enemy.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel like you do even a little bit.
Why didn't they use drones? Like, I don't get it.
However, so while in the course of that, especially the first few days after the episode came out and everybody was asking those questions and nitpicking all of that kind of stuff, there was a bunch of things that were pointed out that were very important, I think, to take into account when you're watching this episode as opposed to other episodes of Game of Thrones. First of all, it was intentionally... they intentionally, in each act, transitioned to different genres. So in the first act, it was supposed to be simply like a building suspense. It was just like as if you were watching a movie that was just a suspense thriller kind of a film. When it transitions into the second act, it's supposed to feel more like survival horror. And then when it transitions into the third act, it's intentionally supposed to feel more like an action film.
Okay.
And
How do y'all motherfuckers pick this shit up?
well, I think the director just explicitly said it in an interview or something like that.
Oh, because I just was
Yeah,
all right.
So-
So you saying it like, oh yeah, that all makes sense now.
yeah. So during my first watch, because I was so concerned with who's going to die, how are they going to do it, am I going to be happy with that? I had more of a critical mind that was active at that time, not because of like necessarily doing this show or anything, but just because I was afraid of who I was going to lose.
And that's I think it's just a characteristic people watching this show have had to develop, I think. Like,
Yeah.
but again, like, even as you were talking about some of the negative stuff that happened, I saw one of the memes and it was something to the effect, it was like 2010. It's like, but it's the Jean-Luc Picard one. And it's like, how the fuck are you going to kill the main character of the show? And then it's like 2019. It's like, how the fuck is everybody still alive?
Yeah,
they have made us believe again, like we like no one is ever safe, and I the idea that like
I had the doors locked. Like,
No.
yeah.
no, just
Barricade in.
yeah.
the idea that I think we had all prepared ourselves mentally for some of these, and then they didn't come. And like again, for me, that was more of like I think it was meant more with relief. I certainly, and I haven't gone through the entire list, but like I certainly sensed a bit of a motif with the people who did end up dying. Like, I mean, the overwhelming thing for a lot of these characters was redemption.
Yes.
That was like, again, like people who had done horrible things to the people that they had sworn to protect, finally getting to honor that.
Yeah.
And
incapacities that make more sense to me than if they were to maybe sacrifice themselves during like a couple episodes from now, an attack on King's Landing.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I really, really liked Theon. what I should say is I really.
No, you can just stop right there. I really, really like Theon. We've all come to that conclusion now, and I finally feel like the circle is closed. Yeah. I love it. You guys all came back, and I was here. I was driving the Greyjoy bandwagon for the longest time. Mm-hmm. You're all there now. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well,
you did it. Good job.
I did. Yeah. I've been
won us over.
I've been writing Benny off explicitly all the time. Naked pictures too. Like I was like me and Theon match down there. And it's like,
shit.
Yeah. We don't.
No.
We might.
Theon's bigger.
I think every episode so far, we've had like an awkward pause after a sex joke because nobody knows.
Well, it's like
no, that's just our lives. That's just our sex lives in general.
Yeah, our life in general is an awkward pause after sex. Like.
You know, most people are like, "Oh, was it good for you?" We know the answer already.
Wait, do people ask that?
Huh?
We're not Game of Thrones. Stop. This is what we have the retalks for.
Speaking of redemption, Melisandre returns. I think probably predicted that she would in this episode, right? Did you kind of see that coming? Or
so again, like looking back, she had the scene in last season where something about returning to this land one more time.
This is where she's supposed to die.
I will die here. I mean, it made it again, like you're just seeing this vast array of darkness, and you're just like, all right, when's it coming? And then it's just her, and you're like, oh, all right, this is I think a part of me had like thought she had gone to Volantis, and now I'm not. I wasn't entirely certain as to why, and I still don't think we got like a clear answer there. I don't know what the whole purpose of returning to Volantis was. A part of me thought she'd be coming back with something of her own, like some sort of army of her own. Obviously, she plays a crucial role in helping the defense of Winterfell. I mean, at least initially. So yeah, it's of vast importance.
What was Volantis again?
It's a city in Essos. It's like the capital city of the fire worshippers.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So redemption, yes. In her own slow ass way, yes.
Yeah.
Like it was like, we need you to come down here. There was probably a conversation, and so she's gonna walk.
Yeah, that scene was handled a little.
Like she was just her entire pacing was just. On
didn't
her
she
own
come
time.
in on a horse?
Yeah, but very slowly. And it's like, bitch, you know what's behind you? Come in. And then it's just like, hey, let her in, all that stuff. Everything she did was slow. And then we need you to go set that shit on fire real quick. You did it with the people's swords. We need you. Trench, dragons didn't come through. They're fired. Can you go do it for us? Yeah, hold on. And then it was like a 2-minute fucking walk. There's people literally just guard this area for her. She's not even here yet.
Yeah, I was okay with it slowing down because I guess I thought that she was going to have to like set herself on fire to get that thing ignited, and I thought that was going to be her death scene. So that's what I assumed they were doing. So when that did not occur, the shot was too cool. It brought me right back into the episode, but I was kind of like, okay, and then just
See, I feel like the production crew were just like, we said 122 minutes, just take the fucking time. We ran a little short.
We let everyone know this is going to be a very long episode, but like, this is not getting spliced.
You know what? When you
no fast travel.
When you reach the bottom of the stairs, take a smoke. Take a smoke break. We'll get a little advertising.
Look at the shoe, see if you stepped in anything.
Okay, so Melisandre returns. She says a prayer. I assume what she did was had to return to Volantis and learn all of this stuff. Because she, say for example in season 3 when she meets the Brotherhood and discovers that this guy Beric, who's been resurrected 6 times. She's blown away by it. She doesn't believe that that's possible, and so she
to do with the eye patch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she believed in the same God and practiced the same stuff. Had never seen anything that powerful yet, in her opinion. In all of her years, too. We know how old she is, but she.
Oh yeah, we do.
So I'm assuming it seems to be one of. It's not like this was her episode, but her storyline throughout the entire series is pretty huge in this episode. I do feel that she, the fact that she returns, fights for the side of the living, inspires hope in the beginning, even though obviously we can get into the fact that that didn't seem to last long. But the the trench burning thing was also very heroic and very cool. Also didn't help much. Bought them some time. I understand that somebody could argue that that didn't really help them much though. But then obviously sort of the seed that she had planted in Arya that she sort of reminded her of in that scene in the I don't know, outside of that library somewhere.
Outside the library.
So all of that stuff was huge. Obviously, by the end of the episode, you realize, in my opinion, that I feel like she transforms, and I wrote it out this way, but she transforms from a semi-villain to a great character, just like all of the rest, because this is Game of Thrones, where my favorite characters have all done shitty things.
Yeah.
That is not why I love them. It's the fact that they are so different now. That's why I love them.
It is, but I think it is also partially why you do love them, because they're so much more relatable than, say, someone like, again, like I have no issues with someone like a Jon Snow, but like you just.
He's easy.
He's the superhero.
Right.
I mean, like,
yeah. He's the Clark Kent of.
Kind of like, he just, again, like, it goes back to that scene last season where he and Theon are in the throne room, and they are just kind of variations of each other. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Jon is like always the ultimate good. Theon is the one who made mistakes along the way, like and big ones.
Yeah.
Not to say that Theon is a more important or even a better like overall. I just think he's a more interesting character. Yeah. Overall, like like the damage of it, like I mean,
and I think he's an equal player too. I don't consider him a side character or anything.
No, he had a big role. He played it. I mean, you don't have to fan service me. I get it. But I do think some people consider that to not have been a major character death. And sure.
Or
I think because again,
I disagree.
I think they were just like, he doesn't have a dick. He's gonna die. Like, it's just gonna be a thing.
Thank God, finally.
So I mean,
felt
again,
bad for him.
The theme of redemption, which we'll get to. I mean, but like, I think you do gravitate towards characters that are maybe not more relatable, because I don't think like we're on that scale, but like you want to see people who do wrong things ultimately make the good choices.
Yeah,
and like to prove that they are decent human beings, as opposed to like a Joffrey or a Ramsay.
Yeah. So Melisandre, she returns, and there's this opening sequence. We have a huge portion of our forces, and by the way, I don't know exactly what the numbers are as far as like how many people were fighting for the living there. But you've had the Dothraki and what seems to be the vast majority of the Unsullied out there. Mm. The Dothraki charge, really really cool sequence visually. Yeah. Their swords. Lit up, and they run into what essentially turns out to not be much more a force of nature than any kind of opposing army that men versus men would look like. And there's a lot of people liked to say that the episode was stupid and that it began there because it was A, it was dark, and B, why the hell did we just lose all the Dothraki? Oh, because the writers don't know what to do with them. Now, I didn't know what to think about it. I didn't really think anything negatively about it, but I just didn't know what to think one way or the other.
Somebody's got to be somebody's got to lead the charge.
Yeah. So the new rock stars on YouTube, they had a really, really cool explanation that really kind of helps you understand what they were sort of the point they were trying to make and what the tone they were trying to set for the episode, which is that these guys, the Dothraki, are they were being used in a maneuver that is typical in medieval warfare. It was some sort of a shock tactic where they would run out, sort of try and break ranks and ruffle feathers of the enemy, and then come back. Well, that obviously doesn't work when you're fighting people that don't have a conscience, are not going to be afraid of you, right. And so they weren't intended to just go out there and all die. I'm sure they thought the majority of them would hopefully run back a minute later. Mm. And I guess the exact reason why they choose to see that show that shot of the one Blood Rider looking up and seeing that giant taking him over. That's so that you understand, like, they don't know what they're doing. They didn't plan for this properly, and they're about to get their fucking asses beat.
Yeah.
You know? And so I thought that was a really cool point to make.
To a further extent, like, just think about the culture of what we've come to learn about the Dothraki and their fearlessness. Like, I mean, like, that's just what they are. Like, they are the charge headfirst in a battle. They relish the idea of fighting. Like, it's literally their culture.
Yeah.
And I guarantee there wasn't a single one of them there that was even, like, slightly scared about what they were even, like, attempting until it happened, I think. And again, like, and the scene is so great. Like, I mean, you have just this... because this isn't obvious. This has to be something that they planned. But like the Dothraki, I have to imagine were very much persistent on this being their move, if that makes sense. Because there's really no other move for them. This is kind of what they do.
Yeah, you don't want them
like,
standing still on those horses.
John having firsthand knowledge of what he saw at Hardhome, it does sort of feel a little bit like it was a miscalculated move.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like too much emotional shit was happening where he could have really just been like, hey, so I remember this one thing.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
It's been haunting me for the last 3 years of my life.
I think we're also coming to realize that maybe John isn't the world's greatest like military strategist.
Maybe.
He's no Rob Stark in that aspect. Like, don't get me wrong, all the hero stuff in the world, but I mean, like, that's not his game. Like, I mean, like, we saw it in Battle of the Bastards. We saw it a little bit in this. It's just...
There's always been a very concerned, oh shit look on his face.
Yeah.
Not like, I got
that didn't work.
Yeah. He's no Jamie.
He's just a pretty boy with a sword.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't write it off so much as like they need to get rid of the Dothraki because, like, all right, we need less characters on the show. It was just... What else could the Dothraki have done? Did you think they were going to guard the city of Winterfell? That's not their thing. They are an open battlefield kind of army. That's you again. You work with what you have, and that's exactly what their move was.
And when you,
I think that it was they underestimated the forces.
Yeah,
they've always been a very intimidating.
Yeah, that's half of what.
But how you can't intimidate the dead.
You can't. No.
Yeah.
You found an enemy that you couldn't scare with, the bedtime stories that people told you as a child. Like that's.
And a moment later, when you see so everybody, witnesses the flames all extinguishing, out in the distance, and everybody's preparing for this charge. When the army of the dead comes, I think it's pretty clear that it's also possible that they probably did do the most damage that they would have been able to charging out the way that they did.
Sure, like they would have just been descended upon. Like,
because everybody just got hit by a tidal wave. Like I think it was like 4 or 5, people tall, or bodies tall, which was, another one of these incredible moments visually because I don't think that I've ever seen that kind of stuff. I'm not the biggest zombie fan. I haven't seen every zombie film there is, but even like the 28 days later?
The fast ones that aren't zombies but are zombies.
Even that, you don't see stuff that crazy, you know?
Yeah. Again, it's just relentless. I mean, not because there's like this need to feed sort of. Again, like that in a lot of those movies, it's like about, or be it like a spreading of infection or like, again, like feeding that like, desire to... These are a different breed of zombie. It's just like they exist only to destroy. That's all it is. They are relentless in that nature, unkillable except by certain instruments. I mean, it's a far more intimidating thing than people just shambolically walking by that take a bullet in the head and then they're done.
Yeah.
No,
did you just use shambolically?
I did.
You said enter the web, so
enter the web. Game of the Thrones.
We've each got one. So
don't judge it the grammar.
So you have all these forces colliding now, obviously on the ground. You have, the majority of everybody that we care about, or maybe not the majority, but a lot of the people that we care about are out there on the outside of the walls. You got Grey Worm and Jorah and Tormund and a whole bunch of people. We've got Jon and Dany. They hop on the dragons. Danny first because she decides fuck this because she just saw all her Dothraki disappear right before
Way
her eyes.
to keep your cool, leader.
Yeah, so she bails on the plan first is what I think is pretty clear, correct? Or
It's what makes her a good ruler, but like a terrible strategist.
yeah.
Like a Tywin Lannister would sit by and watch it happen.
It doesn't help that she's teamed up with Jon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. he just helps enforce all those bad. But again, we've seen it a lot. Like I mean, and sometimes it works. You have the caravan attack in last season where they go and they destroy like most a good portion of the Lannister army. Mm-hmm. But then then you have this as well. I mean,
Which worked like because of surprise only, really.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you can't surprise the army of the dead. They see you like, all right, we're killing you too. I don't know how, but it's happening.
So, Jon and Danny head up into the air. At first, obviously, they swoop in, kind of their hero moments. They're hitting all the whites with all the fire. Really, really awesome. More awesome visuals. Mm-hmm. Stuff that just looked like it could be paintings. You see that storm coming in while the fire is raining down underneath that. That stuff was super, super intense. Mm-hmm. They're kind of doing a combination of trying to see how they can help in any way, shape, or form. Jon's looking for the Night King. He happens to find all the generals just kind of standing by way off in the distance. So, the Night King's smart enough to keep them out of harm's way. It helps verify that he has a plan.
Yeah.
I think I saw a meme that said something like these guys didn't do anything the entire time. Such like upper management bullshit.
Exactly. Oh,
Something
shit.
along that line.
One of them's holding like that mug from Office Space. Like, okay, he's got suspenders.
I'm gonna
on.
need all 10,000, 20 to 50,000 of you, 100,000 of you. If just attack Winterfell this Saturday.
Just to throw yourselves on top of that fire.
Yeah, we're gonna need
that
you to
would
just
be
lay
great.
down on that fire. Put it out. Yeah.
Thanks.
So
Daenerys is like, excuse me, that's my dragon. That's my dragon. Can I have my dragon back?
in the middle of all that chaos in the air, Jon and Danny, they collide at one point. Do you think that was foreshadowing that they're about to butt heads politically, or
There is now a separation of the two. What is going to go down, we don't know. We'll discuss that. But at the same time, there is now this inner conflict, a situation of seeding.
Yeah, but that's all about Danny, though. Jon don't give a shit about none of that.
Yeah.
It would have been so much easier if just one of them died. I'm even there thinking about it. It's like, man, if one, and then there's a point at the end of the episode where it's like either one of these people could die right now, and
I saw you surrounded. I saw you running at the Night King. One of us was going to...
You were yelling at a dragon. Like, it's just... Like, I don't know. But yeah, no, again, like, so it'll be interesting. And I'm actually kind of glad. Like, I'm glad we get to see kind of how that works out. I do still find Dany to be a poorly... Not, like, how do I put it? Like, they've painted her poorly recently, but I do still think she is good.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily foreshadowing, but I think it's well written in the fact that with the little conflict they have, that they're not necessarily... Their heads are no longer together.
right?
So them
There you
bumping
go.
into each
Yeah.
other is a good... They don't know how to go about this together anymore.
John's
Yeah.
also been riding a dragon for like a week. Like, I mean,
That's true too. Yeah, but you're right. It's not so much foreshadowing as it is like, no, that's happening right now. Is that's them? That's symbolism of them not getting along at this moment.
Exactly. And can we get John away from the dragons? He's not doing well with them. One's
No.
dead because of him. The other one crash landed. It's like, come on,
I don't think
Jon.
he wants to be on it.
Yeah, stay on a horse. Stay on a horse. That's where you
go back to Ghost.
ride in on my horse. No,
Can I write some better stuff for Ghost? Because Ghost just pops up out of it. I was like, oh, Ghost is back.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, well, I guess Ghost is
Well, he's
What
in
do you
that-
want? Do you want to have some dialogue? I don't understand. What it is.
I just want him to do something.
Maybe a bitch ghost. I
Bite
don't
a
know.
throat, nigga. Bite a throat.
I would genuinely just like John to show interest in Ghost again. Just for a moment.
Yeah,
One little good boy.
I have never seen somebody with a dog and just like completely disregard it in entirety.
Well, he let him charge out.
you've never
with
been on the
Jorah
west
in
side,
the
huh?
opening sequence.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Essentially sacrificed him. He's lucky he made it out.
Like, I honestly feel like it'd be more real if there was like conversations where like Sam's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to John right now," and he's just sitting on some steps petting Ghost, just like, "Oh, good boy, okay, oh, hey Sam, what's going on?" You know, that would just be more realistic.
I know Ghost was in the front. Did Ghost run in with the charge with the Dothraki?
He did.
Yeah.
He was right there next to Jorah. He passed him up at one. They show.
But
in
we're
that
under
shot.
the impression he's alive, right?
Yeah,
we've
he's
seen
in the-
evidence that he's alive.
Yeah,
It's
he's
kinda-
in the
that motherfucker's
preview.
like, he heard 1 to 2. He's like,
you know what you know exactly what he did. He went limp and he just blended in with the snow.
He's like, my name's not Ghost. I am a ghost. Keep going. No, yeah. If we heard the I was turning off. Yeah, I'm calling Keanu Reeves. John Wick is doing a crossover.
Oh shit!
Fucking over it.
That would have been hilarious at the end of the episode. Then John Wick comes, he kills the Night King.
John Wick Snow. Yeah.
No, so we were talking about the visuals too, but the scene where they're actually like up above the clouds, even like
Yeah.
it was like. Do you remember that scene in the? Was it Batman Returns or was it the first? Yeah, like when
he
he's
goes
up
up.
in the moon. It was a lot like that, but like in 2019, like it's just like you're like, oh my god, this is gorgeous. Like just stay up there, guys. Like,
Yeah.
you're
there's no
above it all.
control.
You can see where you're going now.
I thought there was just a focal point on that scene, and I'm like, I was trying to process as to why.
Yeah.
Like, just I don't know, maybe
You
something
think
as
maybe
easy-
it was similar to like whatever they were pointing out, trying to do in episode 1 where they stopped at that waterfall? Like it's supposed to be
you
like
think
a
so? Like
moment
the
of
peaceful,
serenity?
yeah. Because
or-
again, like it just seems like there's no conflict. Like
Yeah.
I
You
You
mean,
can
like,
stay up here forever.
Yeah. It could have been like the. What is it? The third Matrix when they go up above the clouds. I was like, it's daytime. How long have we been fighting?
Shit. Well, okay, so we kind of already went over my next note, which is that the episode was split into three different acts. Did anybody else?
So where do you put that they were split? So you heard the interview. So where does he think they changed?
So
Well, like, what are
apparently
the-
it transitions from the suspense. So I guess it's supposed to transition to survival horror around the time that Arya goes into the library.
Oh really?
That-
Okay,
that's
All
like a little bit of a break
That's
there.
that's a very Resident Evil-esque scene.
Yeah,
Wait,
'cause
that's where?
Yeah, because even though there's
What
a
about
lot.
the bodies stacking on top from like what was that? Was it Zombie Nation or something or Z outbreak?
World War Z.
Yeah, when they're like climbing on each other to get up on the thing to get over the wall. Like to me,
Yeah, that's like the survival horror. Like because it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
where the survival horror.
Oh, was that
kicked
shot
in.
before that? Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
I think so because
Yeah, it probably was.
because they would have had to make it into the castle
Yeah.
before she's walking around in the library or whatever
Yeah.
she's at.
Man, I might have. I might have trouble remembering. I know that it was okay. So the second time that I watched it, this is what I was starting to say when I first brought up the act breaks. Was that I coincidentally happened to, when I rewatched the episode, I was watching it in sections, and it happened to be right around when those supposed act breaks were, and it made everything feel so much more perfect, like
Wait,
so much
what do you
more
mean?
well done. Like, say, for example, I was
when you were watching it in a section.
when I was watching it again, trying to make my notes the
okay.
next time, I had to take like long pauses just for whatever reason. Like, was doing it in the morning, then went to work and,
Right.
came back to it after work, kind of a thing. And so, yeah, I want to say that it was give or take a couple minutes, somewhere around that part of the episode
as soon as
when it's
those fuckers
supposed to
hit the-
transition to
as soon
the
as they-
survival horror.
I can argue that like to me it becomes survival horror as soon as the army hits. Like that's when the suspense stops. Like because it's suspenseful
might
when
be
the
right about
Dothraki
that.
charge and like just you're like, oh shit, okay, but like as the Unsullied are standing there and just waiting, and then that's I would you could even
that
make the
rush
argument
of cool mint comes over them.
what it's like to chew five gum.
Yeah, you're right. I think actually, if anything, it's probably towards the end of the survival horror part when that
The Arya,
library
I think,
stuff
is
wraps
the
up.
Arya thing in the library, I think, is probably like the climactic scene of the survival horror.
Yeah.
because before then, it's just like that survival horror. I think
When they start walking up to the moat or to the thing, and the zombies just start walking over each other, I'm like, haha, yeah, we're fucked, guys.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably that
They
moment.
picked
that
it up.
spot
They
there.
know what to do
Yeah.
now. It was like, Jimmy,
you could probably
Sacrifice
you could make the argument that like the just how personal the Arya scene is. That is certainly so. You could do just horror apocalyptic genre before that even. So even like maybe even a subcategory between the suspense and the survival horror. You could do like again, just like that apocalyptic onslaught of just like this army that, is unconquerable. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like they can't be broken. Like they bow to no one but one, and they don't even bow. Like that's not their thing at all. They're just meat for his army. Yeah, I mean, so and then the survival. When I think survival horror, it's a very because even like. So, what was your take on Grey Worm? Like the whole when he leaves.
Glad you brought that up.
Did you get the sense that he left, or was that part of the plan?
That's part of the plan.
Was it?
He was probably tasked with, if your Sullied falls, you have to pull the.
Yeah. Okay. So he was hesitating for that reason.
Yeah, and because I think there was
Because it's basically damning his.
I think because he's already started to feel.
Yeah.
And he's already started to break his unsullied little.
Yeah.
Peeling his layers really, and so now it's just like. It's really just like that last break of there goes that part of my life. Like, and it's unfortunate because now he feels for them.
I like that.
When did he leave?
He had to leave his
to break
men
the
behind,
trench.
and he broke the bridge, snapped the bridge, or collapsed it so that to kind of help.
And that's also why the episode before it was like him kind of overseeing to make sure it works and everything like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
But that hesitation was really like
Did I miss that?
part of him believes that he should be on that side of
Yes.
this.
Okay. So that must.
But also,
this is before
it's him saying goodbye in a lot of ways too. That was really hard.
No.
So this is
I missed that. What you just said about him testing something.
Yeah.
In the episode before.
The episode before, when they were getting ready,
Yeah.
when they were getting all the stuff, you see all the stuff up in front of the castle walls and everything like that. He's got kind of his arms behind his back, whatever, and there's the guys just like they pull this thing and it collapses.
Yeah.
And it becomes more of the
bridge that they build over the
barricade.
trench,
Yeah,
and it becomes part of the barricade.
Because part of the trench's barricade.
I totally missed that the episode
Yeah.
before then.
And
or
like
I
he
just
does, like,
didn't
a
pay
nod.
Is
attention
it during
to
John's voiceover part where he's like explaining like our army doesn't tire? Is it during
Yeah,
that
I think
part
it might
that
be
he's
part-
like
yeah.
showing
Yeah, okay.
practice?
Maybe I was listening.
They're just
more to
kind of like
him
generally
than-
preparing. It's a big montage. It only shows it for a brief moment.
Yeah, there was a
But,
bunch
yeah.
of scenes. Yeah, it might have been like maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds.
Yeah.
But this one was much longer because I'm glad you brought that up, Dan, because I thought that was huge.
Yeah.
Especially for his character.
That's cool. I didn't quite interpret it that way because I wasn't sure how much of it was part of the plan, because I was a little bit confused about what they were showing me on screen, because at one point I felt like he could clearly see that they had protected the retreat as much as they could, and now they could start getting out of there. And then they weren't, and I wasn't sure what the reasoning was for that.
Well, they're fearless, supposedly fearless as well.
Yeah.
Again,
So that's their job.
Much like the thing, like the armies that Daenerys has assembled are like these, again, like these hero warriors. That's just kind of what all they know is fighting. Like, they don't know retreat. They've never lost.
And he has a job, and the job he's tasked to do also goes against everything.
Precisely, yeah. So yes,
It's very hard.
that's a very big, like a very important point you bring up. I didn't necessarily think about that, but I think that kind of nails it right there. Like, I mean, again, he's doing something that for the entirety of his life was not in his nature. Like, it's a military strategy that doesn't involve him on the front lines, laying down his own, like, again, like for him, like for his cause. Like, he's planning for something, like, hey, we're kind of gonna lose this.
Yep.
Like, you kind of have to lose, hopefully, to win the bigger battle.
Yep.
So, again, at the end of it, it was all just like a battle for survival. Like, there was no way to just outright win this.
Yeah. And it's clear see-through of the layers peeling. There's actually thought and feeling behind it, which before there
nothing.
wouldn't have been.
He is unsullied.
He might be sullied a little bit.
He's slightly sullied.
Slightly sullied.
Oh yeah. So the crypt scene happened. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I still have issues with it.
Really?
So again, like,
Not happy with it?
No, my thing is that, like, so yeah, I understand what everyone was talking about. Obviously, yeah, let's hide in the. I don't get the reasoning. Oh, they're super safe, and then it's like, John, you've seen him do it. Like, all he does is do this,
Yeah.
and then everything that's around him that is dead comes back to life.
Yeah. Now, maybe he thought, well, these have been dead for a long time.
My issue
Maybe
is
it's
that, like,
recent dead. Is there a shelf life?
how are we? I think the last time we talked about this, it was like how are these presumably dead hundreds of years Starks breaking out of these tombs? Like, I mean, like we had one of the Whites in a box that they took down to King's Landing couldn't break out of a box. Like, I mean,
That's a great point.
it's just
How does a mummy bust through
and
all
again,
of
these
that?
things are even
Concrete or whatever.
older,
Like,
presumably. Like it just,
Yeah,
it's
you'd have thought they'd already been
they're-
dust.
Yeah, they're not up and running. They're like literally crawling. So with that, why is everyone with weapons hiding from them when they can just go up one? Two, okay, they're starting to break out. Let's get them before they get fully out.
You're right.
You know,
But again,
that
it's
was my issue.
the people in the crypts are in the crypts for a reason.
True, but at the
That's
same
not-
time, you don't think they were completely unweaponized.
Not unweaponized, certainly,
Yeah.
but certainly not with the soldier. Every soldier that they had was in a soldier position.
True, right. But at the same time, with the daggers, they probably were given for last resort.
For the record,
They could have just, like, Sansa could have just one by one, just like, all right, stand back. All right, Tyrion, you get this one. Oh, go.
yeah, no joke. Tyrion's like, I should be out there fighting. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you can't even handle these like 8,000-year-old Starks in here. Like,
Yeah, and you're right. It could have been ultimately a little bit more of a fan servicey thing, like a little
I think so.
gimmick.
but I'm glad that it didn't go too far. I'm glad we didn't see a headless Ned Stark or anything like
Yes,
that.
yeah.
I did see a terrible meme this morning, actually, before coming over here. It was the girl who wanted to fight, and it was like, well, she did a terrible job protecting the crypt. I was just like, oh, no.
I did think that the first body breaking out, I mean, doesn't matter one way or the other, really, but I did think that it might have been Maester Luwin.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just the way that the robe looked on the character or whatever, that first...
He would have been still relatively fresh. Like, I mean, like in the grand scheme, he'd only
Yeah.
dead a couple years at that point.
You deteriorate pretty quick.
Again, like
4 or 5 years maybe in time in that world.
if anyone was going to still have some characteristics of who the character they were, it would have been him.
You're right. Or Rickon.
Yeah.
Like
But you just got
busted
Ned's
out.
head rolling around.
No, his head is still on the spike, I'm sure. And where you go?
Oh, probably.
So it's just his body.
So it's just.
I thought about it. I was like,
So
is
with
Ned's
that said,
body just running
if
around?
if his body comes to life, is his head somewhere in like King's Landing on a spike? Like, what is happening? Just that one.
We'll know in the next episode.
Oh my god, Ned's head.
Okay. So,
watch that show.
But no, I mean, did you have any other takes on the crypt scene? I know, like that was just my thing. It's just like there's an inconsistency factor there. Like,
I kind of liked that it was... well, I think it made sense that it happened. I think it's better that John's the dummy who didn't predict it versus it not taking place. I like that that the Night King had the ability. I thought that was cool.
that area of effect for that spell is just like out of this world.
But I do also agree. They didn't take it too far, anyways. So I didn't.
Sure,
It was just kind of like
it was a way.
part of
It was a way
Yeah.
to add even more like doom and gloom to it. It
Yeah.
was just like
They're-
like they're getting fucked on all fronts. Like, I mean,
And when I don't know what the hell Varys is up to, I kind of just liked him witnessing like Sansa and Tyrion like trying their best to come to everybody's aid, because I wonder if that will matter at all in the last few episodes, anything he has to say.
Well, I almost take it as Varys was helping too, because he was bloodied. So
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he had some blood running off
Okay.
of him. So it's almost as if he was attacked and surviving as well. And when they showed up around that corner, and they were all there. He was standing there. He might have got him there.
Okay.
And did what he could do.
Yeah, maybe.
I think at that point, even the non-brave, the reason why, like she says, like there's a reason why we're down here. At that point, well, if we're the last, there's nothing we can do but try. Kind of like a feel.
You still have that survival instinct.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much of a pussy you are, except for one.
And yeah, it's one of those things. Varys has made it this long. Yeah.
You have no idea how many times I kept yelling at fucking Samuel Tarly.
Oh, my
I'm gonna
God.
Fucking kick that big fucking pussy right in its fucking
Yeah.
pussy.
But how he made it, I don't know. But there was one
It's
thing I thought they
infuriating.
were going to maybe take something too far in the crypt. I thought they were going to mist it. I don't know if you guys have seen The Mist. But, when Sansa and Tyrion are looking at each other and they have the dagger, I thought they were going to do
yeah.
I was like, if they fucking killed themselves just to find out everything's going to be okay in like 5 minutes,
Exactly.
I'm done.
Yeah, that would have been horrible.
I'm done. And
That
I don't know
would've
if you
been
saw The Mist. That's what
absolutely
happened.
Canceling HBO.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw The Mist. They,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the mist made me very, very angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody somewhere, a writer is going, Mission accomplished.
My career as a writer is over. But yeah, no, everyone
I want
really
to piss off everybody at one time.
because I saw that. Like, I know she's got the dagger, and they're giving that kind of look, and it's just they've had their conversation of where they've been and where they are now to where they are now, kind of thing. And it's just like that last longing look. I'm like, don't you fucking do it.
See, I didn't get that at all.
Like, I almost thought maybe she would go for it, and then maybe Tyrion would grab her. That my mind was racing during that scene. I was like, don't you fucking do it.
Not mine.
Man.
I think I may have had that for like a fraction of a second, but then the rest of it was like, okay, now they've realized like, well, we ain't got shit else to do.
Yeah.
Time to go kill some dead people.
Yeah, that's it. If you got time to stab yourself, you got time to stab other fucking things.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I was concerned for their safety, but I wasn't. I didn't pick up any vibes that they were going to maybe off each other or themselves or anything.
When they did that last look, like, it was like, what are we going to do? Like, there's nothing to do. I was, no.
Yeah, I just took it as like, you really, like, maybe we'll get one each. I don't know. Good luck. Here we go. High five.
Yeah, he
And in
kissed
all
her.
honesty, there was probably room for at least 3 or 4 more people behind that crypt. And they're just like, shh.
Yeah.
Like
Just
Tyrion
us.
kissed her hand, and I just knew like that was just like the.
Are you serious that I was the
All
best
right,
of them?
bitch, let's go. I'm calling it now. They're going to be king and queen. Just
Think
throwing
so?
it out there. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
End of the show. King and queen. Boom.
So I'm not sure which of these might be better to do first. Favorite moments or best death? It depends on your guys' answers, really. If any of your favorite moments were anybody's deaths, we could just combine them. But
Because I'm dead inside like that.
what were you have a favorite moment of the episode, Derek?
Yeah, I would have to say my favorite moment would be the slaying of the Night King, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't got that far. I don't think.
Yeah,
But,
I kind of. I think I just. You're right. We didn't end up getting that far talking about the moments that took place in the episode, but that is what this all comes down to. To go back to answering your question earlier, I guess I thought that when it transitioned to purely an action genre was right around when the Night King resurrects everybody for round 2.
Yeah.
And
Which
no, we're all right there with you, Jay. It's like, what?
yeah, who the fuck survives that?
Yeah.
Right.
There was already only like 300 people left.
But I mean, think about it though. Him and the generals sitting around talking, right? Having a nice cup of iced coffee, chilling, going over strategy. Like, oh, so we just send everybody in, kill everybody, right? Oh yeah. Well, what if things get tough? Come on, guys. You already know.
Yeah.
But they start killing people.
I've got
Guess what?
to revive.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a fucking mushroom, bro. Why not? Let's go.
That's ridiculous. That was because you're already seeing our heroes just tired, barely making it as is, and they in their head they're like, okay, well, I see fucking 20. This is legit, whatever. And then there's just that reset, and just like,
I just killed him.
Yeah.
I just killed him.
well, now I don't know, because I think once you're dead, you're dead. I think it was the rebirth of their fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the dead.
Oh,
that
so once
have
you
killed,
kill the undead, then they're dead?
Yeah, because they were being killed by dragonglass.
That's
So
right.
they're
Yeah,
done.
the
That's
magic
right.
gets
It's-
broken when they get. That's
the
why
dragon
it shows.
glass.
Like, say for example, when Lyanna, shout out to Lyanna Mormont, when she stabs that giant in the eye, that's why he instantly withers away down to what his form would have been if he was never revived.
Right,
He just
right.
becomes like skeleton,
Yeah.
and so he would not. Yeah, the giant wouldn't have been like revived in round 2. It was purely all the
Just-
fresh dead, which is.
Now just a bunch of pissed off Unsullied and
Unsullied,
fucking
yeah.
Dothraki's like turning around and coming at
It's
you.
only going to be harder, like, I mean, it's only going to be better fighters.
Right.
they've got a little bit more meat to them. They're not
Yeah.
just like bones.
Yeah. So, so anyways, there is that, and then obviously, John gets diverted. We think that he's going to have a showdown with the Night King. The Night King,
Does not.
yeah, he's like, nope, I'm sorry.
Yo, the look
I got
over
stuff
his
to do.
shoulder.
Yeah.
And that kid's walking. He's like,
oh, you're still around.
Taking a stroll through the fucking woods. And he turns, the look over, because John's fucking running. Just looking up, bitch. All right.
Now-
Come on if you want to.
Now, we've all been in that situation similar to.
Have we?
Yes, where I've been in a bar or a club, whatever. I was like, I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm making my way, and then a fucking song hits, and everybody has to fucking get up and start dancing. I'm like, no!
Yeah.
Excuse me. Damn it! There's the line.
It's exactly like that, except if you piss your
Should've
pants,
just
you
thrown the
pass
sword.
away.
Yeah. That's true. And
Like, how does he not have like a compact bow with just like one
Like some
dragon glass
yeah.
arrow?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. But
That would have just been too easy.
Yeah.
I guess.
So John gets obviously he's distracted by all of his freshly fallen brethren revived. He's fighting him. It's cut into him trying to make his way through. He's trying to catch up with the Night King, who is walking now with all of his generals behind him.
Homeboys.
It's moved to slow motion time and all that kind of
Entourage.
shit. Yeah. They're taking their sweet ass time. Everybody's fighting for their lives. We see Brienne, Jamie, Podrick up against the wall. We see Tormund still around. I really loved the moment where John is fighting his way through. You've got dead bodies literally falling from the sky. They're
falling off the dragon.
They're
right?
falling off of the dragon who, while they were, I'm jumping all over the place with everything that happened in the episode.
The
I'm
episode
trying to
did that
keep
too,
this review episode from being 3 hours long. So I was, I ended up skipping a couple stuff, but it's a really, really cool shot. He's having to see a lot of his friends struggling. He's having to give up on them. So you're still thinking that John is going to make his way to the Night King, and then they subvert our expectations with they have a moment's pause. We leave John. He's trapped by Viserion, the dragon, who's lighting up the courtyard there.
Yeah.
And we get a moment with the Night King and Theon. And obviously, Theon shares a moment with Bran where Bran ultimately forgives him, tells him, you're a good man. That was really, really, really important to Theon. He had been forgiven by Sansa and Jon, and now Bran. Aside from Arya, the last of the living Starks.
Yeah.
Right. And so he goes out in a very heroic fashion, attempting to kill the Night King. Probably
Essentially, for the first time in like his life, he does the heroic thing.
You're right. Yeah.
Can we 1 second. I'm sorry. Bran. Hey, la. Hey, I'll be back. I just wanted to leave now.
Oh, I know that part.
Goes into his fucking Mog life or whatever the fuck he is. And he's like,
Kids in their video games, dude. Like this.
he's like, hey, we got you. Theon's like, we got you, bro. Don't worry. Everybody make your shots count. And this fucker goes, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And fucking white eyes it. I'm like, bitch, where are you going?
shit, we have to strategize. What? Oh, there. Okay, I'm talking to myself now.
I saw something online. They suggested, why didn't you attach like little dragon glass daggers to the crow's feet? And like have him attack the Night King that way. Like,
Have you never seen Hitchcock? Have you never seen Hitchcock? Come on, Brian. Get it together.
Now with Theon's gets the forgiveness from all the
Theon's
living.
fucking redemption, though.
Yeah, it was great scene. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the actual episode.
I teared up.
When you see the forgiveness of all the Starks. Do you think he meets Rickon in the afterlife and he's just like, "Well, you got some fucking nerve. You got some explaining to do. No, your family is forgiven. No, well, I'll wait till they get here.
That'd be
fucking tell me that you lied
just
to me
haunted
before.
by the Rickon's
Yeah.
ghost.
Just tell him to run, and
Oh, can we have you get? Did you talk about how useless Dany was in fucking battle? Do we?
it's not her area of expertise.
Yeah, I mean, she's
So reactionary.
pure numbers wise, she did a lot of damage. I mean, it's not like she didn't,
But to a
help.
limitless army.
Yes, very true. Yeah. And then probably just
I didn't know we had, and I didn't, and I won't.
But then,
no,
once she loses the dragon and she's there by herself, it's like, oh, you
What's
don't
homeboy's-
have any business being
Jorah.
here.
yeah.
Jorah's over there fighting his ass off, and every time it takes him to get stabbed, and oh shit,
Yeah.
stab that guy. Jorah gets stabbed again. Shit, stab it, bitch. You just reactionary.
My queen,
swing.
Could you take a few?
Yeah.
Could you take a few? I'm going numb.
Swing away, Danny. Swing away.
Could you maybe stab them before they stab me?
Yeah, the blades aren't coming out of my stomach; they're entering from over there.
I would love it if there was just like that one half second, like where like there wasn't coming up, and he just does that turn and that stare, like, You want? All right. It's just like, bitch, you serious?
Just purely, like, she has all this attitude and all this, like, I'll kill everybody.
Right.
But then some motherfuckers run up and she's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Every time he
her
turns,
puppies, man.
every time he turns around, she's stabbing one dead one. Like, oh, got it. I got that one when you weren't looking.
Oh, look how bloody my sword is.
Yeah,
reactionary
hacking them
bitch.
to
Oh, I
fuck
thought
up.
I got that one, but I got him again. He wasn't as dead.
He was twitching.
He was a double dead one.
In her defense, I get it. It's not her expertise. She's like, I can rule and shit, and I have people to do the killing part for me.
Yeah.
Cool, because I got all my folks. I got my folks. I got my horse riders, and I got my men in black, and they gonna do everything for me.
And oh my God, where are they all?
Put Cersei's in the same position. She'd fucking stare those fucking dead things to just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go start a little life of my own. Just like, you know what? This attack isn't for me.
Yeah, seriously, there would have been a whole different thing. That bitch should have been swinging and just giving mom looks at everybody.
Just like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Should have looked at them all. All the walkers would immediately started doing chores.
Yeah.
Immediately doing chores. Like, sorry, mom.
Yeah. The Night King's like, why isn't everyone fighting? It's like that bitch. Like, oh, yeah. You just go around her.
His generals are just like
let that one go.
Timidly starting to pick up like the mess. Just like,
Hey, we brought these. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Jim's a real party pooper, bro. Jimmy, come on.
Oh, the generals are definitely the friends that like talk you into this shit, and then as soon as the parents come, it was fun.
So just to bring it back around to what you were, Derek, you're talking about your favorite moment being when Arya kills the Night King. So, that's we see everybody fighting for their lives. We see Theon sacrifice himself to the Night King. We don't know where Jon is in that moment. The music, there's a unique piece of music that's continuing to swell. And then it reaches its I don't know, crescendo or it's the Night King approaches Bran. We don't know if he's about to kill him. We don't know if Jon's going to finally come in and save the day at the last minute, like maybe most people are expecting.
Yeah.
And then they subvert your expectations or whatever the hell you want to call it. Arya flies in from out of nowhere.
I love how they show the general, like his hair. His hair just kind of.
Yeah,
maybe it's Maybelline.
And like he turns to the side and was like,
yeah.
"Fuck was that?"
Dude, and he's I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
He's just like, hey, guard this, watch my 6. You got it, boss.
Yeah,
little girl.
Yeah. Oh, we are so fired.
No one watched my 6.
I actually kind of hope he does because I'm going to be so dead if he.
Yep, and then in a similar, very extremely similar fashion, almost identical way to where in the shot that Arya is training with Brienne in season 7, he catches her midair by the throat. She lets the blade fall from her left hand into her right, and she sticks it right into the Night King's stomach or chest area. I guess he couldn't have a full chest plate worth.
Well, he's the Night King. He's cocky. No one's going to get to him.
That's the thing. Yeah,
I don't know why he made that decision.
It's Valyrian steel. That shit
it was
going
slimming.
through.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It probably would have stabbed through the armor.
But no, think about it. Think of his army, though. Think of his army. Think of what his magic is.
The very nature of White Walkers. I mean,
he's never thinking that somebody's going to get to him.
That's true.
He's never like Jon. Jon was running up. If he really could, if he'd have been like, look at this motherfucker get another 2 or 3 feet, and then he would have done some old,
You're right.
kick the shit out of him and stab the fuck out of Jon shit.
Yeah.
So he's just overconfident. He's like, I don't need all this shit, bro. Like, I don't need armor.
You're right.
No one's ever going to get to.
Back at Hardhome, when Jon
And he dies.
meets locks swords with that guy with the with a long claw, and you see the look on that general's face, he's like, oh, they still have these.
this is still a thing.
Now, I would say because we're saying moment, and it's not just the split few seconds of the Night King thing because it happens real fast, but that moment of Theon's last redemption, Jorah's end of watch of friend zone, Jon just that fucking pent up rage, can't do anything, yelling at a dragon, just like
and
his
dragon's
last
like, whoa,
energy.
inside voices.
Yeah. Is that what I look like? Oh my goodness. Yeah, just all of that right there is just that was my moment. It was just like it built up for that, and it's just that quiet, end of the chaos, if you will. And I thought that was just well done.
I genuinely think that if anybody thought that's how the ending was going to go, like they're lying.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
anyone's like, oh, there's so many too. There's so many.
I thought
Arya since season 1, blah blah blah. I was just, oh man,
you get that she was like this great character, but like
Nobody saw that.
Yeah, I was talking to Andrew. That was like, I hope that like in the last second, Bran just like possessed her, and it was Bran the entire time. But you don't see the eyes go. I get it. Blah blah. But I was just kind of.
And he wakes up like, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, like everyone's just like, yeah, Arya, including Bran, bitches.
Everybody, next episode, everybody's patting her on the back, and it just cuts to Bran, and he just looks at Tyrion and goes, "The things we do for love."
Yeah, and Arya's just like, what happened? I blacked out.
stick them with a pointy end.
I was in the hall with the Hound and the bitch witch, and I'm just like, and all of a sudden, you guys are hoisting me on your shoulders. I don't understand.
Hey, what's up with like? Oh, hey, sorry, we took a little break there. Jay had to step out, so it's just Derek, Danny, and I for the rest of this one. But I had
Man, what you talking about?
oh shit.
Be back.
Oh no, I don't like this.
This is Jason.
I don't like this. I need an adult.
The Hound. Where does he just hangs out with the Red Woman for the rest of that episode? What was that like? Maybe the whole like another hour or so. Did he just stay put in there, or do you think he was guarding her or keeping?
I don't know.
Do you think he was just like he was trying to? He was overwhelmed.
The hard thing in these episodes is to really quantify how much time is actually passing. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, like it's 88 minutes to us. This could be happening in a much faster fashion or whatever. Like when Arya is running from the like post library scene after Melisandre kind of gives her the pep talk. She could be at that very moment heading to do exactly that.
Theon could be dying at that moment.
Yeah, it's so that's the hardest part with these sort of episodes. You don't know what's because you're checking in on these people and you don't know if it's already like happened, if it's happening again. Like so, there's no. I don't know. It's just again, time is just a hard thing to quantify in shows.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm willing. I'll let it go. I wasn't like too bothered by it. But
You better.
At the end of the, but I think that there was pretty much the whole third act took place.
He was just trying to get away from fire. Like
I think you're right. I think he was just kind of like done.
Terrible person to get away from fire with, but yeah.
Yeah.
the closer we're out of danger, the further we're from harm.
But at that point, she's probably spent on the fire thing.
Yeah, she was out of mana.
Well, because she just hung out in there too for the rest of the night too. So.
But yeah, I would have to say that in that sequence, that moment of everything coming together, the last stand from the majority of them, that really. And then the rest of them thinking it's their last stand and really just saying, fuck it.
Yeah.
Embracing what could be their end just for homegirl.
What
was your favorite sequence, Danny?
My favorite sequence, I really did. It wouldn't have been all that crazy for Lyanna Mormont to just be dead by getting just backhand swatted by a giant. I mean, she's the tiniest thing in the world. And then to still persist, like not have that be her end.
That
so
roar.
Then, the roar. Like, I mean, like again, like it's the metaphor that the smallest fighter can take out the. It's the David and Goliath story sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, again, she's straight up like crushed. Like, I mean, like in his grasp, and he's about to go full attack on Titan on her.
Yeah.
Like just eat her, and she just straight up gets him in the eye. So it was like,
I think not.
Wish she had she been a dad, that definitely would have been the joke. Oh my god, sorry, it's right there. My apologies.
What was that?
It's the thing that Jay hates that I did touch.
Gotcha.
He's not here to yell at me though. I can touch it all I want, but I'm not gonna.
You'll know.
But so overall, just an overarching metaphor for the entire episode. I think just the concept of an unconquerable enemy, but the determination of mankind, sort of thing. A great scene, a great death. Obviously, very partial to the Theon one as well.
Which death do you think was the best?
The best death. Obviously, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
Oh my god, Sam!
Again, Sam, stop getting people killed.
God damn it!
Oh, so best death.
Go read some books. What is that? Not Libre. Go.
For me-
Still at the Sam. Go read some books.
I know he disappeared for a while on the show, and I don't know if again, like maybe they didn't want to make a bigger character out of him than he had to be.
I know.
But the return of Beric Dondarrion,
Yep.
and the concept that he again, like, regardless of anything you put into this whole Lord of Light thing, he was brought back at that point 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
That was his seventh. He was brought back a seventh. No, he brought back 6 times. That was his seventh death.
Yeah.
Okay,
whatever,
so
yeah.
the when the Hound kills him, that's the 6th time he's been killed.
Yeah.
He was brought, and then so Thoros dies at the end of the last season, so you kind of know he's on borrowed time. Like, but again, like the idea that he was brought back all of those times, literally to at a moment save Arya, who would be the one to undo the Night King.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. So you have to. Even if these people don't believe it, you kind of have to start to, in a way. And again, like maybe it's just the human power of will. Again, like it has to be somewhat terrifying for him. The idea that this is it. Like that there is no coming back at this point. Before it's like maybe I'll get brought back again. You never know. That was it. But he sacrificed everything for it. You didn't really know why at the time. I don't think he really even knew why at the time. But you got the feeling that Melisandre did.
Yeah.
He never knew. He made comments like, I think about that every day.
Yeah.
What am I here for?
But he was there literally to save. Again, I'm not saying Arya was dead to rights, but like overwhelmed. And
Yes, and I agree with you, Danny. I thought that was. We can argue that everybody.
It was a more subtle one, and again, it's a character that maybe hasn't gotten his due. I guess because again, there was a period where he probably hasn't been on the show since it was like season 3 until like the last season when he showed up. Like season 3, season 4 was the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't back on it again until like
7.
the end of end of 7.
Yeah.
6.
End of 6.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We're in
7.
7.
7. No, we're in 8.
What?
Yeah, it's when the Hound rejoins the Brotherhood. In
Yeah. So that was season 7 then, right?
6.
It's season 8.
End of season 6. He was there all through season 7.
The Hound comes back in
You're
like
right,
episode
you're right,
8
you're
or
right.
9.
This is
of season
this is
6.
7.5. Like this, or the second part of 7. Really.
Okay.
If you want to, if I know we call it season 8, but it's
I see. Okay, no,
7
yeah,
part
so
2.
You're right. So it was the end of season 6. He's a big portion of season 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I think as far as important deaths, I mean Theon just really kind of again it plays a role. Like you don't know how much his like slow run towards the Night King stalls enough for Arya to get there. Every death played a pivotal role in this.
Yeah.
Jorah lasts just long enough to ensure that Khaleesi doesn't have to fight a single walker by herself. A single white by herself. Because God knows we'd know how that would end.
Yeah.
To open another pocket on that, it was also my favorite death. I really wanted Jorah's to be my favorite. I really did because I like that romantic shit. Anyway, but we all knew he was going to die.
Yeah,
standing for her. We all knew it. It just when it's happened, it was well done. I really enjoyed it, but we all knew it was going to happen. Where Barracks, we never knew was going to happen, and then it felt like it was the final chess piece moving.
Yeah.
It was the final chess piece moving to make it happen, or opening up to open up Arya's piece.
And also, and you're right, Danny, also to help validate this Lord of Light stuff, because that's what Melisandre's involvement does.
Yeah.
That's what this ultimate sacrifice from Beric seems to symbolize.
Yep.
Is that the Lord of Light is involved, paying attention, witnessing, and participating in all of this, and throughout
Whether
the
it's
entire
just their own
series.
belief or I mean, again, like just the power of belief,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's starting to check out.
And we could go back and look at everybody's path to get them to where they were supposed to be for this moment. We can go back and do it. We're not going to, but for him to never really know, but just to let the Lord of Light take him wherever he needs to go. And, just things opened up. A door opened. He went through it. But how he really went about it, like, was fucking boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, we discussed before the scene where he just braces himself in the opening in the hall, just puts his hands to the wall and just takes the stabbings just to hold them back. Was just.
I counted a total of 12 stab sound effects.
Just
Total between when he first gets hit in the leg, when he first starts running Arya off, to the last one before he finally staggers off. He took 12 more. Dude's already died 6 times.
And to give him that extra few seconds for the Hound to get her in that room, and just to hold them off like that was it's one thing to turn around and start swinging, go, but that's a Jon Snow thing. This is a Beric. This is the last action kind of thing,
and it's a pure hero moment because he's not having to redeem himself for anything. It's not like, oh, good, nobody's happy to get rid of Beric Dondarrion.
Certainly not as like the other ones, but again, he's someone that like has lived his life. We've kind of gotten a look that like he was kind of a shithead before, not a shithead, but like certainly not like the most heroic person beforehand. He's kind of like a born again sort of hero. I know Arya had a lot of qualms with the way that when they were initially together.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really pivotal sort of moment between the two of them. It was almost like like him making amends. Not necessarily that he had to make amends, but like obviously for a long time she felt that he wronged her.
Yeah, because she had already stated that she had pretty much forgiven him, or to whatever extent that she would forgive. She's come to terms with that, so. He didn't need to do that to prove himself to her, but he was so devoted to what he believed in and everything. So it was just really big for that reason. Man, I think Beric's death is also my favorite just because in the moment, live, while you're watching it might have been the least telegraphed. Just because, like, compared to the other ones that I like Lyanna, when you see that giant bust through the door, she's in her last scene. Like, Theon, when Bran says what he says to him, that Theon's about to die. Jorah, you knew
standing in front of Daenerys, no other people there. That's it.
As sad as it is, you didn't want him to die in any other way. So
perfectly.
So Barracks was, I think, the one that was the most. Indicative of the forces of good that were at play throughout this episode, that whatever it was that did let them get by off the skin of their teeth, it was people like that served a purpose, were kept around to serve a purpose. Really, really cool to find out at the end of the episode how important his sacrifice was versus it just being a cool looking moment. And Arya ended up not doing anything or anything like that. That's not what happened. So, and I think favorite shot or moment for myself, just real quick, was I think what just kind of gets me the most pumped up is the initial chaos with Tormund and everybody out on the field with the dragon fire lighting things up behind them and stuff like that. That stuff was getting me going the most, where I was just like, oh my God, because it's still in the initial, it's in the beginning. You don't know how quickly some of these characters might bite the dust in that moment, and all that kind of stuff. So it just made it incredibly exciting, and on top of that, they had all this visually stunning stuff happening around it. So that's why that would probably be my favorite. All right, so I want to close this episode out with some awarding the episode MVP to somebody. So I kind of have some different reasons that I wrote down here for why somebody might qualify for MVP. I put Jorah on the list because he was out in front from the very first moment of the fight, and he's the last person to die. He's
a Marine.
Yeah,
first
he
one
was
in, last one out.
Devoted. And so I feel like he deserves candidacy for that reason, regardless of even if he had ended up failing at saving Dany, I think he'd still be on this list for me. Melisandre, for the reasons that I stated earlier, where I feel like her character became something different by the end of this episode than she was previously throughout the series. Whether she fully redeemed herself or not, I don't know. Whether she really...
Truth be told, I mean, like, she's been on a... I would say she's been on a upward kick since all of the Stannis stuff, if I'm being honest. Like, so basically from the burning of Shireen, everything she's done has been towards this better version. I mean, and again, like, I get into this argument a lot with people with Theon, and they're like, yeah, but he burned kids. And it's like, I know he did. But you saw in that, if you're really watching that scene, when you see him see that, like what he did, it's almost like he can't even believe what's happened.
Yeah.
And again, like, people think about, like, the change that went on in Theon happening because of everything that happened to him with Ramsay and the Dreadfort and stuff like that. It's like, no, dude, it started way before that. It really did.
Yeah, you can be blind by thought or an idea, and then when the thought or idea comes to fruition, that could wake you up.
Is it an unforgivable act? Absolutely, but who knows that more than Theon Greyjoy? He's never. It's never like I need to redeem myself. He's like, I can't be redeemed.
Yeah.
Like, he knows. Like, no one knows better than him.
And the Brotherhood, say to the Hound, you can still do a lot more good than the harm that you've done. And that doesn't have to be said to every character for that to be true. That we understand that, that's exactly what was going on there, especially with Melisandre. And then Arya, of course, 'cause she ends the goddamn war. So, she
Arya
definitely
calls
makes
game.
Yeah, so she's definitely on the list for that reason. Before maybe picking an MVP, do you think anybody else should be on the list?
We got into the Beric stuff a little bit. I think, again,
I think Beric.
Honorable mention Beric.
We don't know if Arya makes it out the hallway without Beric because Hound's moving slow. He's also kind of slightly crippled by fear.
I'll be honest. I honestly just think he's like, we're gonna live through this, and I got to keep all my stamina for Clegane Bowl. Like, I gotta.
Yeah,
I've got a zombie brother to fight.
yeah. So
I've seen it in the flames.
Yeah, we don't know if she makes it out that hallway without Beric. I think his name. He may not win, but he at least needs an honorable mention, if not the hat thrown in the ring for that.
Okay.
But let's give Arya the credit.
Yeah.
Let's give it to her.
You think MVP, easy MVP for Arya?
I think so.
Yeah.
Again, like,
It's tough because I think
a lot of things have to happen for her to get there, obviously.
Yeah.
But again, it even goes back to the decision she makes when she's at the inn where she runs into Hot Pie. Like, it goes all the way back to that. Like, she makes the choice of family over revenge.
So how much does it matter that she was dependent on so many other people stepping up and doing so much for her to be in the position she was in versus maybe somebody who, like,
Again,
for example, like a Jorah who is just...
It's the argument is, like, who's more important, LeBron James or the role players? Like, I mean, like, that's...
Good
kind of
point.
what this
Yeah.
gets back. And so again, like, she still has to carry it
Okay.
out. I mean, there are no precedents for this. I mean, she hasn't practiced this at all. I mean, obviously, she a little like the maneuver, I suppose.
Yeah.
but not ever with that in mind.
You're right, yeah.
Well, I'd have to say MVP goes to Davos.
Because he just somehow
He broke
finds
his
a
own,
way.
yeah, he broke his own promise. Didn't kill the red bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that helped everything. Yeah, he wanted to. He's just. I'm a actually hold on. I got a promise to keep.
Yeah.
I'm abandon my post real quick. I'll meet this bitch in the stairwell. And then just, no, I will die before dawn. He was like, all right.
I did think it was a little odd that he
I'm just
would
joking about that.
at the end of the night he's still had his hand on his sword ready to murder her. After all of that, you were still that close to slitting her throat, but 4 hours earlier when she first showed up, you were kind of like, what are you here for?
Yeah.
I got lost.
Okay, well, you know what? I was kind of leaning towards Jorah just because of
I like what you said. That he's the first man out there.
last to
man
die,
alive,
died the way that he would have wanted to. But I like what you're saying. I mean, Arya I think Arya just to me is kind of like, I guess the MVP is the honorable mention here because I feel like Arya is the no-brainer where it's like, oh, well, of course she's the MVP, but who would you give the MVP to if it wasn't coincidence after coincidence helping you out, to get to where you needed to be. And so I guess I just love Jorah so much and I miss him already. And This is a shout out to Jorah.
Yeah,
That's what this
one of my
MVP
favorites,
candidate
yeah.
section was.
Tragic hero.
Yeah. So, so holy shit. Yeah. So we lost a whole bunch of people. We lost Ed. We lost Lyanna. We lost Theon. We lost Jorah. Who am I missing here? We lost
Barrick.
Barrick.
The Dothraki general. I looked up his name and I already forgot.
Oh yeah, it was like Gozo or something.
So not even the Dothraki general, the entire indigenous people of the Dothraki.
Yeah.
Some came back. Some ran back.
Yeah, there was
We
like
don't know if they're all
6
gone.
or 7, and I was confused by that too. They were like outrunning their horses,
Yeah.
and like, but yeah. So we lost a lot of people. We obviously lost the Night King, and we lost the entire army of the dead. That threat is over with. That pretty much sums. Kono.
Kono.
I did want to get into that a little bit because I think the issue that a lot of people had with this show, again, like because the show prepares you so much for like all the things that you've seen that came out of nowhere that affected you in a way, like so you're almost classically trained now to expect like these big deaths. So going into this episode, all of us thought they were going to be like these main character deaths, and upon first watching, the people like were like, well, why didn't anybody die? It's like you realize what Game of Thrones did. Game of Thrones does what Game of Thrones has always done. They tricked you into believing you knew who's gonna die.
Yep, they went
and then they did kill a main character, like a very main character. What is the name of the show?
Game of Thrones.
What does the Night King have zero interest in?
Thrones.
The throne. Has no interest in the throne.
Yeah, pass that test. Good.
He
My palms
has
were
no
sweaty.
Yeah, as I do.
knees weak, arms are heavy.
Do I get to share this on Facebook afterwards?
So, in the end, he was never going to win. Like that's we didn't know how he was going to lose. There was no way humanity was going to be undone by this.
Did we think this episode? Maybe not. But
I was fine with it.
yeah, I was too.
I wasn't sure that it would happen this
A lot
episode,
of people
but-
are upset because, like, oh wait, so Cersei's the big bad? She always was.
Cersei was always the big bad.
Always
Yeah.
was. Yes, the very beginning scene we started with the White Walkers. I get that in episode 1.
Well, I understand people being confused maybe the way that this season has played out because we haven't even seen Cersei for 2 straight episodes.
Yeah.
And so I can see like people who are maybe much more casual fans that kind of maybe are like the kind of people who kind of float in and out of the room while it's on anyways.
Yeah.
And then they haven't rewatched any episodes a year and a half ago when they saw season 7, and now they're thinking that, they understand what all of the advertising was, what all of the hype was, that the Night King is coming and winter is here.
Yeah.
I can understand some your average TV viewer just being like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so it goes from this huge thing to now they're just going to go.
Yeah, but
I
that-
can see
yeah.
somebody I can see that take,
But with that same argument, they'd be like, wait, Negan's the
exactly.
the main bad
That's
guy?
not, that's not
like-
who the show is made for. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, yeah.
So I thought the zombies would be the main. Okay, let's fight this human.
Yes. Yeah. Well, have you-
In the grand scheme, yeah, that humanity is still the biggest threat. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Someone with thought will always be scarier than blind will, or I don't know.
So,
So again, they
schemes.
led you to believe.
Yeah.
You were led to believe something, and they pulled the rug out from under you. That's all Game of Thrones has ever done.
Right.
Yeah.
And how we go from here? Gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Like, so I mean, if they had lost this battle and like maybe retreated or something like that, we'd know how the rest of these episodes are going to go in some capacity. We're completely in the dark.
Yeah, which is actually, and that's going to lead into the sort of the part 2 or the next episode here that we have planned, because I knew that talking about this one was going to take up a good hour already, just a review of the episode. But yeah, we don't know.
We're at episode length right now. We're hour 22.
There you go.
Every minute counted.
Yeah, so on that note, this is that pretty much sums up the review of the episode that ended up being titled "The Long Night." The 3rd episode of season 8 of Game of Thrones. And what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, but Derek, Danny, and I are still going to be hanging out here. And
Jay.
yeah,
I got both. Jay, why didn't you say anything for a long time?
I was eating donuts.
That's an amazing Jay voice.
Accurate.
But what we're going to do in the next episode, for people that want to are going to stick around, tune into the next one here, I will be posting these episodes back to back, hopefully within an hour or two of each other. But we're going to go into what we do think our predictions are for what we think is going to happen in the second half of this final season, because we really don't have much to go on, so we can really kind of speculate in any direction that we want. We're going to go through a nice fun list of every single person that's still left alive in the world of Game of Thrones, what we think may or may not happen to them.
Seriously, guys, I looked at the list. Hot Pie's on there.
Yeah.
You guys are
We're in for a treat. And then we're also going to kind of just have, like, we're going to expand this out a little bit, have a general spoiler discussion. This episode caused some waves throughout the internet. A lot of people were very upset at spoilers being distributed instantly.
Me.
Yeah. So we've got some takes on spoiler stuff. We might even go ahead and discuss a little bit how it compares to Avengers Endgame that came out in the last week. I promise you we will not discuss any Avengers Endgame spoilers during this episode. I haven't even seen Endgame, and I personally wouldn't be upset by spoilers, but I do promise that we won't go there. But we just want to kind of talk about just spoilers out in the world right now and what the rules are and stuff like that. And then also, hopefully, by the end of that episode, I might have some announcements for some stuff coming up with ExoverseTV once Game of Thrones Season 8 is over with. What might be in store for ExoverseTV next, whether or not we'll be expanding to more episodes per week or additional shows. We'll have a little talk about that. So for people that are going to tune in to the next one, we'll see in a few minutes. But otherwise, thank you guys for checking out this review of The Long Night of Game of Thrones episodes Season 8, or Season 8, Episode 3. And thank you, Derek and Danny and Jay, for hanging out and talking about this with me. Make sure you follow these guys at the Retalks podcast. You can subscribe on Podomatic and iTunes, and what else? How else can they find the show?
Google Play.
Google Play Store. Anywhere that like supports podcasts, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you follow us on Facebook, we post on there. And
Yeah.
we can take you to every which link you want.
Because I've been having some trouble just kind of doing this one from scratch because I'm not using like a podcast publishing app. I'm just publishing this as a blog on my Squarespace site, and then it goes out to whoever I've also reached out to make sure they have my RSS feed. So kind of been like trickling in over the last couple of weeks, like ways in which you can find the podcast. You can find this one on iTunes and Spotify. And there's a TuneIn Radio app and Google and all that stuff. But I'm not
We on TuneIn Radio? Are we on TuneIn Radio?
Are you?
Get on TuneIn Radio.
I don't even know.
Sorry.
But I'm not on like Pandora yet or anything like that. I don't know how you do too much of that. So I'm learning. So I kind of do little intros and stuff for these episodes, let you guys know when I finally figure some of that shit out anyways. But so I might have some more announcements about that stuff coming up. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and sign off for this one, and we're going to go ahead and kick off the next episode in a few minutes. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, just wanted to give you a quick update on some other things happening on the Exoverse Media website. Some friends of mine in Texas released a new song. Check out The Final Burial on the Exoverse Media website. Just click on the music tab and select The Final Burial right there. There's links to their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook pages, and you can stream their new track, Extinction, right there on their page on the Exoverse Media site. You can also check out thefinalburialtx.bandcamp.com for more information on how to follow them and other tracks that are available to stream right there. So go ahead and check them out. Thank you, guys.